Previously on Jay's 2 Cents.
The idea behind these videos is to see whether or not we can find ourselves an amazing deal and then use that as like an entry level getting into PC for the first time.
Hey look, 95 FPS. We paid $500 and we're playing this game right now. Dude, look at that. I didn't even realize the FPS. Look at it. It's like 300. Do you want to see us upgrade it like we did in our last video? I think that's the series people are interested in, is ultra low cost entry point into gaming PCs and where to go from there. NZXT's build is a quick and easy way to get a new gaming computer, build a gaming PC on your budget using the built-in configurator, and see exactly how your favorite games will perform. Don't want to spec it yourself? Then choose from BLD's pre-configured player PC systems designed to fit your needs and budget. To see the full lineup and specs of the NZXT BLD Player Series pre-built PCs, follow the sponsored link in the description below. All right, so here's that $500, right? $500, yeah, $500 PC that we recently got. Showed that it was an amazing gaming computer and with a pretty good deal, with it appears to be very lightly used, to be honest. Anyway, as we've always talked about, it's not about what you can get to start, it's what do you have as a future upgrade path for it. If you decide like, okay, got a little money, as some time's gone by, maybe the performance isn't quite there in the future for other games and titles you want to play. So that's what we're gonna do today. I got two things specifically for this tower that I think are gonna give us the best results. So, first things first, this cooler. Since we figured out that this particular ASRock B560 board does give us the ability to increase the base wattage for the CPU, it means that we don't get stuck at that 65 watt drop down, which is like barely 3 gigahertz all core if you hit all cores with like Cinebench or whatever. This is the Darkrock PX4. I actually did a video about this cooler. It is currently for sale right now on Amazon for $16. $16, and we've already done a review on this cooler, so I know it's gonna get the job done. Now, when it comes to the upgrade series that I'm kind of doing right now, I'm not necessarily looking for the cheapest. I'm looking for the best value, the best bang for the buck. So, being a $16 cooler and already knowing how it performs, I think that this is going to get the job done very nicely. Now, I didn't go out and buy this one for this video. I already had it. But we're still accounting the fact that it costs $16. As you can see right here, it's got 4 copper heat pipes. We've got our cold plate right there. It comes with a black fan. It's a black cooler. Plenty of cooling to be able to cool the maximum amount of wattage the CPU is able to produce, which is going to be 170 watts was the highest wattage we saw it draw. Now it was hitting 100C with this little deep cool cooler right here, which might even be worse than the box cooler that comes with Intel, simply because of how wide the heatsink is, like how far apart the fins and stuff are in its density. Plus it's just a little chunk of aluminum, which is not great. So anyway, we are now in the negative $14. So that means our $500 build, which was about 14 bucks, 16 bucks. Our $500 build now is about to cost us $516 and some change. And it did have free shipping, by the way. So there was no additional like Prime shipping for that. I already have Prime. It didn't cost me anything to get it shipped. So $16 and possibly some change. We'll put the exact number on there. The other thing is the CPU, now that we know that we can upgrade or change the base wattage, I don't feel like an upgrade is necessary. It's an 11700F. It still uses DDR4, which it's actually the last generation for Intel that uses exclusively DDR4. 12th gen and up can use both, depending on the motherboard you go with. So we have 16 gigs of RAM, no need to change that. But we do want to change out this graphics card. Now this is a Gigabyte Eagle RX 6600. It's a non-XT, literally nothing special about it at all. But as you saw for 1080p gaming, which we were doing, it gave us really good frame rates. I mean, we were getting well over 80 FPS in Cyberpunk 1080p high settings, and up over 90 FPS if we were willing to drop our settings down to more like medium. So anyway, this is out. And here's what I got, and this is like the deal of the day. A brand new, still sealed Swift 319 RX 680, or 6800, not 680, 6800. Wanna know how much I got it for? $260. 260 bucks, brand new. Now here's the conversation. I went out and bought this, by the way. I have one on the shelf right over there. But if I don't have to spend real money on this, you don't necessarily put real thought into some of the process. So to really get behind like the spirit of this whole series, it's important that I go out there and spend the money. So when it comes to the graphics card, he had it listed for $300. He said in his listing that it was brand new, never used, had pictures of it. We'll show it on the screen. And he was very local, like 10 minutes away level of local. It just says right here, factory sealed packaging, never opened, 2105 megahertz click speed. I think that's a typo. And then 16 gigabytes GDDR6. With cash in hand, you are free to open it. We didn't even open it. We trusted that it's in there. If I open it and it's a brick, or it's a shoe, or something stupid, well, it's been a fun series. We would just be out $250, which made that build now extremely expensive for what we currently have. So let's open it together.
It would be really stupid if this guy did scam you.
Especially since he knows who we are.
He already knows that you're going to do a video.
Yeah. So we're gonna open this together and I'll go into the whole conversation we had about this. Like I said, he had it listed for $300. I offered $250. We agreed on $260, and here it is. So it's like, it's funny that I literally have one of these sitting over there right now. Actually, I take that back. I have a Merc. So the Merc's slightly different. The Merc is more expensive. It's a higher tier for XFX. Okay, this is brand freaking new, just like he said. Even the blue tape seal is still intact right here. So now we have the amazing experience of buying quote unquote used. It's third party, I mean it's not from a retail store. I don't have a receipt. I don't have a way to return it or any of that. It's all sales final. I'm now getting the brand new unboxing experience that you would get with buying something new. So or used. That's fun because let's face it, that's what a lot of people love is the smell of opening it for the new electronic smell, especially when it gets hot for the first time. So now we have some fun of opening this up. Still has all the plastic and everything on here. We can peel this, get the satisfaction of that, which you never get with used. Cool. We noticed a missed opportunity. XFX just says XXX. They should put an F right there. XFX. Whatever, there it is. Our big old giant dual BIOS card. I forget which BIOS is the higher fan speed BIOS, but it doesn't matter. We can go and adjust all of that in like MSI Afterburner anyway. But I'm not gonna put this in yet because I need to change my cooler, and I don't remember if the back of this case allows for rear access to the motherboard. We'll find out. If not, I have to take the motherboard out. Please. Yes. Okay. So let's go ahead and change out our cooler. So now here's the thing. This costs $250. That cooler costs 16. That means, or 260. 260 plus 16. We're now up to $276 of additional money into this. Now, searching around on the eBays and on the Facebooks and stuff, I want to point this out. All of the stuff that I've been buying is in person. I want to be able to see it, touch it, feel it, etc. in person because I have a lot more trust in someone that's standing right in front of me looking at a product than relying on someone's seller rating on eBay that I will never probably ever see face to face and then be potentially out money and shipping costs and all that sort of stuff. So there's no shipping involved in any of this. I prefer local marketplace. Fortunately, because I live in Southern California, there is a lot of opportunity out here. There are tons and tons of people buying and selling computer parts every single day. Like I can find some stupid deals up here right now, probably even better deals than when I got this. But what I was gonna say is that we're able to get about 170 bucks for this card. I've seen some go for as high as 190. I've seen one or two with bids at about 150, but the bids weren't done and the auction wasn't over. So I chose $170 as a realistic figure that we could get back for this 6600 right here. So we have to take 276 minus 170, $106 plus our initial 500. We are now at a $606 PC. I think 11700F with now this better cooler with 16 gigs of DDR4, 3200 megahertz RAM, 500 gigabyte SSD, 1 terabyte hard drive, and now a 6800. I think for 606 bucks, that's a serious deal because here's the thing. If I look for 66 or 6800s right now, I was initially shopping 6700, but I found this 6800 listed at 300 through a lowball 250. He took 260, he took 260. That's the kind of That's the kind of stuff you have to look for, right? Because if I go onto our local Facebook marketplace right now and I look up RX 6800, $400, 320 bucks, 400 bucks. So you can see they're well over $300. There's $350, a 1 week old version of the same card. That's the same card. So $350 for that card. Yeah, so you can see we got a pretty good deal, a really good deal. Here's a 6700 XT for $350. So $260? Absolutely. All right, let me get this cooler installed. The only thing I don't have with this, which you would have if you bought it new, would be thermal paste. I have to use my own because we've obviously used it and cleaned it off. So I'm not gonna add $5 because had I bought it new, I would have had it. Okay, there it is. Actually, it looks like a pretty nice computer now. Like even aesthetics on this now for the fact that we're at a $606 PC. I still think we're okay though with cooling because the 6800 is not a very high watt power card. The 3 intake fans blowing right on it. So we still just have the 1 exhaust fan doing all the work of trying to exhaust the hot air. So I still think some fans on top would be the next thing if I saved like, if I find like 2 Amazon fans for a couple of bucks, like let me see right now, how cheap could we have maybe added 2 fans or a fan? Here's a 3-pack for $11.90. So put them on a 3-way splitter, put them up there, put them in the other CPU header, because I have a CPU optional header that's not being used right now. This is the one thing you might have to deal with though, now that you are upgrading a computer that you bought complete. If you don't know anything about computers, you gotta start researching how to update drivers, how to make sure things are running properly, because most people might not have even realized right now that even though we're inside Windows, that the driver did not auto install with Windows 11. Even though we had the 6600 uses the same Adrenalin driver, Windows didn't auto detect and auto install that driver. So we're doing it manually now. So these are the kind of things now that you have to be aware of once you are now doing surgery on your own computer. In fact, perusing through fans right now, Dark Rock, the same brand as the cooler that I have, has an $8.99 3-pack. So $9, $3 a fan. That's worth it, I think. All right, so here we go. I'm gonna go ahead and hit start. I'm gonna see what our max temp gets to. Even if we hit the 90s and we don't hit 100, we improved. But we're not gonna hit the 90s, I promise you. 58, 59, 60, 61, still 44, 62, 61, 62, 64, 63, still at 4.4, 64, 65, 66, 65, 66. Yeah, dude, we're talking like 30 degrees, more than 30 degrees drop. The core, look at the cores. The cores are in the 60s. It's the best 16 bucks that you could spend for this kind of system. Look at this. We are not throttled at all. 72 is our max so far. Still at 4.4 the entire time. 14,173. Now, if you compare that to when we first brought the system back with that crappy little deep cool fan or whatever it was, we were at 10,116. We just went up to 14,173, a 40% improvement in score for $16. Actually, no, I take that back. Because we upped the base power is where we saw a lot of that improvement. We saw like 30% of that by upping our power. But because of the throttling and the $16, we just gained 10% more of our base score improvement for $16. This is just peace of mind. It wasn't 100% necessary, but it's peace of mind, knowing that our CPU is gonna stay nice and cool, because the CPU would be the next most expensive component in the system to replace if we need to, and we don't want it to. 11th gen should be good for quite a bit more time to come. With that said, it is now time to see how we do with gaming, because that is what we obviously all care about. Now, one thing about the base cards like this, the 6600 Eagle really is just an MSRP card. It does have a little bit of power limit available to us, but I didn't even mess with the power limit. This card is specifically intended to be able to push like power limit and stuff a little more. Not only are we gonna get higher fidelity settings, we've bumped up now into the 1440p gaming range. This card is not very capable for 1440 gaming. It was never designed for 1440p gaming. It was intended for medium to high settings, 1080p, or medium to low settings, 1080p on AAA titles. We're at 1080p, VSync is off. Graphics, we still have FSR set to quality. Image sharpening is at half, normally we leave that at 1. Texture quality is at high. And then if we go to, that's our graphics there, you can see there's no ray tracing or anything like that on. Everything is still set to high. We should be seeing more than 80, what? I think it was like 83 FPS, 82 FPS around there.
Okay, look, we're at 125 FPS at 92% utilization. We are noticing, even though the FPS looks really solid right there, this is sampling at a faster rate. So there's a bit more up and down, but as you can see right there, I'm not moving. And it's locked to like 137, 136. So it moving up and down versus being a little bit straighter line on the 6600 is not correlating to like a stuttery experience. I just wanted to point that out. What we're looking for with that graph is any giant spikes or giant dips in performance, which would be indicative of, you know, a CPU bottleneck or other possible things. Well, I mean, look, we're 115 FPS right now. What about 1440p? We've jumped up that much money, we might as well get something extra for it. Assuming now we have a 1440p monitor. Obviously we didn't upgrade that, so this would be weird, but I wanna know, are we future ready for that? 110 FPS, yes we are. We're absolutely ready for 1440p, 14400p. That's 95, 93. Our GPU usage went up a little bit to 97. Our temp went up slightly, but our FPS. I would absolutely take 90 FPS, 96 at 1440p versus 130 at 1080. That's just me. It depends on the game, honestly. But we could still go in here and tweak this more if we wanted for more performance. Because now that we got up to 1440p, I could probably take FSR from balanced, or from quality, and go to balanced and up this to 1 on sharpening. Definitely sharpen. Now look at our FPS. It has more of like a comic book kind of a look with the sharpening. It almost seems like an outlining of stuff, but it doesn't look bad. It's definitely better than 1080p was, and now we're well over 100. Cyberpunk 1440p, check. All right, now we know for a fact, an absolute fact, that CS2 is not gonna have any problems whatsoever running this. I think it's safe to say we're probably pretty close to 400 FPS right now, because I'm seeing 3 up there a lot. Okay, let's go to 1440p now. Oh, I can't change it during the game? Oh, it's already 1440p. Okay, let's go back to 1080. I didn't realize it auto-loaded 1440p. There, oh yeah, it's obvious now that it's 1080p, look at this. Ugh. Stop! Nice! 4 rounds, 3, 2, oh. Okay, clearly 1440p is fine for that. I mean, that was 1080 right there. Helldivers 2, that was the other title we checked out. Okay, so I'm going exactly to the same spot I went last time, so there's no deviation. Dude, it still looks beautiful right now. Without changing anything, we went from like 70s to 128. We're on high, medium preset. Let's go up to 1440. We're still ultra quality, by the way. Okay, we're still getting 105 FPS in 1440, even when flailing around. Oh my gosh, man. Imagine spending 600 bucks total and you're playing like Helldivers 2 at 100 FPS. People are gonna be, but it's a console port, it's not hard to run. It doesn't matter, it's a AAA, it's like it's a high-end title that's popular, that's running better than on the PlayStation 5 that this was ported from. What I'm checking for right now when it seems like I'm just like being bored and playing and not making this video is, can I focus on what I'm doing in the game, or am I noticing FPS stutters or anything like that? And there's none, I'm not noticing any right now. This is very, very, very solid. Okay, so this is where I need your guys' help. What do you feel like the next, Matt, put yourself in the situation that this is your PC. You're $606 in now, you're playing 1440p gaming, or at least know that you can. But assume you have a 1080p monitor. What do you think your next upgrade would be? Do you think you would go out and get another monitor? Do you think we should throw some fans in here, even though it won't show up probably in any sort of scenario here where we can notice it? I mean, look, we're at 51C on the GPU. That GPU is putting all that heat off into the case. It's this one rear fan's job to exhaust it, and it's doing it just fine. So I'm wondering now what you think the next setup would be. Or do you think you would just at this point stop spending money and maybe start spending money on some games to enjoy on the PC that you just got? Because yeah, I have, geez, these 4 games I installed are probably more than half the price of this PC was. So you gotta start playing games, otherwise what's the point of having the tower if you can't afford any of the games? So sound off down below what you think the next step would be, or do you think we should start all over, but this time go for an even cheaper, older budget? All right guys, thanks for watching, and as always, we'll see you in the next one.